Hello guys, welcome back to this navigation episode. Today we are going to talk about the navigation part of our food delivery app. So here, as you can see on our previous lesson, we talked a lot about the authentication UI and stuff like that, but today we are going to talk about the navigation parts. So let's go down to our app, and here in our app we are going to do something here. We are going to create a new branch. So I'm going to use the extension for Git to create a new branch right here. So I'm going to create this. I'm going to make it as feature and I'm going to call this navigation and create it. So you can see here navigation. So here, before we do this, we are going to create two files here. One is going to be on the constant folder, and the second is going to be on the services folder. So the first is going to be our route name. So we're going to call it routes underscore name. So this is going to contain all the routes that we have for our app. Like if we should go to our app design, here you can see we have a lot of screens here, and we are going to give them some names, some constant name that we are going to use throughout the app. So that's why we have that file for that. So we are going to create that, and we will start adding route names to that. And first here I'm going to call this static const, and it's going to be a string, and also we are going to call this auth part, and this is going to contain it's going to be called auth, and that's how it's going to be. We can just remove this static here, and here we just have the first, and the second we can just call this welcome, and let's just call this welcome. You should always add the slash at the front here, and we'll call that welcome part. And we have gotten these two parts now, and the next thing we are going to do here is for us to create a navigation service. So that's the thing we are going to create here on this services folder. So we're going to call this navigation service .dat. I need to update this. It needs to be .dat. I'm going to close this, and let's create some class here. So we are going to create a class called navigation service, and this class is going to be a singleton class. So let's create it as a singleton class. We are going to call the same name here, and we are going to make this a private constructor, and we are going to have a static navigation service as a private instance here. We're going to call it instance, and we are going to call a new getter here, which is going to be of type navigation service, and we are going to give it the name instance, and we are going to check if the instance here is we are going to check something here. So we are going to check if the instance is equals to null, and we should do something here. If the instance is equals to null, we should update this to what is here, to this private constructor, and else we return that instance. So you can see that has come up with the null safety given to us with the recent update of that lang. We have been given this syntax for this particular statement. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that here. I'm going to replace it with this, so this works fine too. And the next thing we are going to create here is the global key. So we are going to use the global key, and here we are going to use we are going to call navigator state. So this navigator is going to contain some keys and some context, some navigation context that we are going to use throughout our app. So we are going to call this navigator key. So that's what we are going to call it, navigator key, and we are going to call this global key, and we're going to mark it as a type of navigator state. So that's what we are going to call it here, and we're going to save that. After creating our navigator key, here, and we are going to create a method called ungenerated route, and we are going to pass in a route settings here, and we are going to do this, and this is going to return routes, and this is how it's going to be. And we are going to create one more thing here, which is going to be called navigate to material page route. So this is going to take of type material page route. So whenever we call this method in here on the ungenerated route, we are going to navigate using the material page route, and we have passed in some parameters here, like the route settings, the page which is we are actually navigating to, and also some name parameters here, like the maintain state. And this maintain state is if we want to keep the state of our previous page that we were before navigating to the current one that we are actually going. And this one here, the full screen here, if we set this to true, we are going to and Flutter is going to handle this navigation as if it's a full screen dialog. So that's how it's going to be, and we are going to pass all those things on our material page route here, like the maintain state, full screen dialog, the settings, and as well the builder here. So the builder is going to return the page, and if we should use this in here, like maybe we just do navigate and we pass in the settings here, the route settings, which is what is here, and we actually pass in a scaffold widget here, and as well we just call this, and we call this particular ungenerated route. This is going to actually navigate to the scaffold we have here. So that's how this is going to work. And so let's have a new field here, a new property we call route name. And this route name, we are going to get the name from this settings here, and we are going to use switch statements switch cases to switch based on the name here and navigate to the screens we actually want. So as on the before I start this, I told you guys that we are going to create some constant fields here, and like the auth parts, the welcome parts, and based on this part we are going to navigate to that. So if the route name is in the case of auth parts, we are going to navigate to our auth screen. So we are just going to have I think we have authentication view, and we are going to actually have that state here, so to avoid it being so I'm going to get the type here and maybe pass it. Let's say we get the type and we pass it in here, maybe to be signed in, and we can mark this as const. So whenever this is being called and the route name is auth parts, we'll navigate to this. So that's how this is going to work. And here, so that's how this is going to work. So let's call this navigator. Let's register this on our home. So we'll go to our main here. Let me increase the brightness of my screen, and here I'm going to create a new file here called app.dat. Now I'm going to bring some few things in here, like I'm going to call this, it's going to be a stateless widget. I'm going to call it footer. Okay, I think we already have this. Let's go to the main, and yeah, we already have this. We can just go here and bring it in here and import Flutter package, and here we can just import the theme as well, and do one more thing here. We have a scaffold here, so we have a scaffold here instead of having that, and we can just remove this from the main to keep the main just clean with just the main. I'm going to get rid of that and just clean this off from here and import this from app.dat. So we can just go to our app here, and let's register some few things here. So I'm going to extract this scaffold widget to be I'm going to call this a wrapper widget. I'm going to call it wrapper. and I'm going to mark this as constant. And in this we are going to have a body, and in this body of scaffold we are going to have a navigator. I'm going to name this navigator, and I'm going to, in this navigator here, we are going to have on generate routes, and we are going to call our navigation service, and we call the instance, and as well call the onGenerate route, and this goes in with a tear off. And the next thing here we are going to do is we are going to get the initial route, and it's going to be the welcome part, and the next is going to be let's see what the next is going to be, navigator key. So the key is going to be is going to come from the navigation service, and instance we get the navigator key. So based on this we are going to navigate our app based on this navigator here, and we can now add maybe we want to add this particular button navigation bar here, and we can always use the inner navigation right here from the navigator key. So this is going to be more explainable when we have actually start using them. So let's try to use it. So I'm going to restart this app, and we can see return null. So we need to go back to our ungenerated file here, ungenerated route here, and we can return a default screen. Let's return a default screen here. Navigate to scaffold. Let's just create a new scaffold here and navigate to that. And this is going to be a constant, and I'm going to restart this, so you can see that it's all working now. So the next thing we are going to do, we need to have a new welcome part here, and this is going to be return. This should be return, and we have a new case here, and so this should be return as well, and this should return welcome, and let's call it, it was called onboard view, and let's save that and restart that, and you can see that we are on that onboard view right now. So and if we should go into this onboard view right here and go into this sign up here, and actually click on, we do navigator dot of context, we do dot of context, and we use push name, and we call on auth path here, and we click that, we click save, and click on the sign up here. Let's click on it. You can see we have been navigated to the sign up. So that's how we are going to roll with this navigation. And let's see how we pass in data to our navigation. So like here, if we want to navigate, maybe we want to navigate to sign in, we actually want to see that sign in screen, and if we want to navigate to maybe sign up, we want to see that, and we have all set up that on our previous video. So we are going to pass in the state right here. So we're going to using the argument here. So if it is sign up, we are going to pass in authentication view state, and we are going to pass in here it's sign up, we pass in sign up, and if it is sign in, we are going to pass in sign in. So what are we going to do now? Next is go to our navigation service. On our hotspot, we are going to do something here called this as state, and we get the settings and get it as argument. We can mark this, we can cast this as a navigation let's call it authentication view state. So we can mark it like that, then we can just pass it in here, and we remove the const here and save that and restart this. Let's see how this is going to look like. You can see we are in the sign in and we are in the sign up. So see how this looks clean. So that's how we are going to be using our navigation throughout this app, and more to come. We are going to add more things to the navigation, like the navigator, the button navigation bar here. We're going to update all of that. Just stay around in this tutorial while every week I update you with more tutorials. Thank you for staying around, and see you on the next video. If you're not a subscriber, thumbs up to this, click on that subscribe button, and also thumbs up to this video.